So in this video I'll be showing you how I take these generic jewelry boxes and customize them to make them personalized to my brand, and so you can do the same thing with yours. And to do this, all you need is a small laser engraver like these two that I have here. And you might be thinking that laser engravers are way too expensive for your budget, but you'll be happy to know you can get these for around $100 or even a little bit less depending on which one you get. So this is the maximum engraving area for this particular machine. And this machine has a moving bed along with a moving laser head. So you have to put whatever item you're engraving onto this bed, and just keep in mind that you only have a small area that this will actually engrave in. And as you can see, this is the laser up here, and the rail underneath it's basically maximum move distance. Also, if you're wondering what this green piece of plastic is, it's a shield so you don't hurt your eyes from the laser beam, and it just attaches with two little magnets. So the engraving area that you get with this is about 36 by 36 millimeters, and that's the maximum this machine can do, which should be totally fine for most people's logos, or if you just want to put your name on things and stuff like that. My particular logo looks best when it takes up the entire surface area, in my opinion, so that's why I have a secondary laser, which I'll get to in a second. So this machine can be powered very easily. All it needs to do is be plugged into a cell phone charger or even the USB ports on your computer. As for getting data to it, you need to plug in a secondary USB port to it and to your computer. I'm pretty much able to just plug this directly into my laptop and run this without any other power sources. So for the second laser engraver, you can tell that it has a much bigger cutting area, which is about 80 millimeters by 80 millimeters. So over double the area of the first machine, and the actual machine itself is smaller. And as you can see for the two boxes, the design that I've made looks a lot better on the second one than the first one. And this isn't due to lack of detail or anything, it's just how I have it designed. So this second laser engraver also has a green glass piece in the front to protect your eyes, and how it gets away with cutting a bigger area is it doesn't have a bottom bed. Everything moves around on the top, so you have a larger area to work with. Also, this second engraver has a 2000 milliwatt laser inside of it versus the other one that only has 1000 milliwatt. So the second engraver also has some controls on the top, so you can move around the laser head or even stop it or start it again. So powering this laser engraver is a little more of a pain. So it comes with its own wall plug with a very short cable. So for this one you have to plug it into an outlet, and the other cable has to be plugged into a USB port on your computer. And both of these things have to be plugged in, and you have to run the program that came with it to even turn this engraver on. So it goes the other way around also, so if you don't have the engraver plugged into your computer, you can't start the program, it'll just keep looking for the engraver. So let's actually start using the lasers, and I'm going to start by putting a piece of just normal white paper into the first laser engraver, which is the 1000 watt one. The bed has rubber bands on it so you can hold down whatever you're putting in there, because it will move around, and if you don't put it under the rubber bands, it will move and it will actually mess up your engraving. So using white paper like this is not suggested because it doesn't engrave it very well or leave marks. It will just either cut through it all the way or do nothing. But I wanted to show you the difference between using paper and using a piece of cardboard. So no matter what you put in here, you're going to have to focus your laser. And you do this by using the focus ring on the laser itself. And you want to make it so that the little laser light is as fine as possible, so it's just a tiny little dot, which doesn't really come across very well in the video, but you might be able to see it better on the darker materials. So let's hop inside the computer so I can show you what program you need to use to get all this working. And I'll make sure to have links to all this in the description below so you can just download them from there if you like. So there's two different programs you can use with this, but I'm going to show you the one it came with and then show you the one that I had to go find that actually works better. And there's also a third program for the other laser that I'll show you in a bit. So these programs don't need any type of installing or anything like that. you just literally double click on program file and it'll open up. Just make sure that your engraver is plugged into your computer and turned on when you do this so it can connect. So there is a full tutorial on here if you need to go through it, but I'm just going to go straight over to the photo gallery. So the problem with this particular program is you can only use what is on here in the photo gallery. So that makes it impossible to use any of your own designs. But if you do want to use some of the files in this, they're very simple. You just click on them and go, basically. And it's good for testing on different materials if you don't want to use your own designs on it. So just for testing, I'm going to be using the Tesla logo and showing you how that works on the white paper and on some cardboard. So I'm just going to right click on this picture and add it to my collection, and then move over to the collection page and double click on it to open it up into the controls. So once in the controls, there looks like there's a lot going on, but there's really only a couple buttons you need to use and settings you need to change. So if you click on the picture and hold down the mouse button, you can move it around and drag it around the screen. And if you go underneath it, you can actually change its size by scaling it down or up. So up here you can insert text, and you just type in whatever you want here, and then you click on font, and it'll give you all the options of fonts that you have on your computer. Once you have your text and your font how you want them, you can just click the Insert Text button and then click on the screen where you want to put your text. So the two effect buttons up here will change between different types of images for your print, and you basically just want to click on which one looks better to you. Some of them will add like little dots in certain areas or remove some of the picture, so you don't want to use those. So for this one, I'm just going to stick with effect A. So the next important setting is your burn time. You can move this up and down, and you're going to have to play with this one to get exactly the burn depth and darkness that you want. So I'm going to set it at 15 milliseconds for the paper and see how that works. So this button will show a square box outline of where your engraving is going to take place, which makes it extremely helpful if you're trying to line something up on it. And the one next to it will just rehome and center the laser. So the rest of the buttons under this are pretty self-explanatory, so I'm just going to push start and start the engraving and show you how bad this goes on white paper. So as you can see, this is not doing very well and missing a bunch of spots. Also, the spots that it is actually engraving, it's cutting completely through them. So cutting paper like this, unless you're actually just cutting the paper out, I don't suggest doing, especially because this is white paper, and white paper will reflect the most amount of light, so it makes it even harder to cut. Also, this is sped up. This little bit that you're going to see took about 3 minutes to do. And since I'm talking about the length of time for cutting, you don't want the engraver to be running for more than an hour at a time, because you can actually burn out the little laser diode, and you'll have to buy another one, which they're pretty cheap. They're about $10 to $15, but I don't think you want to keep switching those out. Since this has already failed anyways, and it's already proven my point, I'm just going to stop it here and then put in a piece of cardboard. So I'm going to show this one in real-time speed at the beginning just to show you how fast it actually goes, so you have a better idea of how long these take to actually engrave. So I did change the burn setting time to 25 milliseconds instead of 15 because this is a harder to burn material. And from start to finish, this took about 15 minutes. So here it is up close. You can see that it's pretty detailed and it's nice and dark. You will have to mess with this and try different settings for different materials, but this is what you can expect for cardboard, and you can even do this on wood. It was even able to cut the trademark TM at the top of this, and on this material it doesn't even smudge. So now let me show you the other program where you can input your own images into it. Make sure that you have your engraver connected to your computer and turned on when opening this program. Otherwise you won't be able to do anything and it'll just sit there and try to auto-connect. So when you first launch this program, you're going to have to change the language at the bottom left-hand corner. This program is a lot more self-explanatory with its buttons, and it's really easy. You just do as it says, you just drag and drop your image into it. So I'm going to be dragging in my smaller logo because that one is the one that will match the cut area of this engraver. Once you drag any image into this, you're going to get this pop-up window that's going to show your image twice, and you'll pick which one you want and which one looks better. Once you have your image in the program, you'll see that most things are grayed out for now, and you also see that you have an insert text option just like the last program that works exactly the same. To make all of your buttons usable, you need to send the image to your machine first, which will be the button at the top right hand side. You'll see on this side of the screen what's going on and if things have connected and downloaded properly to your machine. Now that you have your image downloaded to your machine, you should be able to use all of the buttons on the screen now. This is pretty much exactly the same as the last program on how it works. All you need to do is set your burn time, find your position of where everything's going to be in your piece, and then go ahead and push start. Once it has started, you'll get a used runtime, so you know how long it's been running for. Also, you'll start to see a red start filling in the pattern, and it shows you where it's at throughout the pattern. So here's a finished burn. As you can tell, it can be extremely detailed with text, and you can even read everything on here, even if you have to get pretty close to it to see it. So for the second laser, you're going to want to use this program that's inside of this folder, and it needs all of this other information to be with it. And this particular one that I'm opening is the English version. So you might notice that there's not really any text on here. If you go over any of these buttons and click on them, and then just leave your cursor on top of it, then it will display what the button is and what it does. This program pretty much works just like the rest of them do, just it looks different and there's a little bit more options. You also have a larger cutting area with this one. So all you need to do is drag and drop your image into it. So you'll see 3 different options over here, and this will change how your engraver is going to engrave your image onto your material. So the grayscale one is good for if you have a picture that you need different tones of gray. The black and white one, which is the center one, is basically if you just have a black and white image like this one. And then the one underneath that will actually just make dots everywhere. And it, so far from my testing, just looks terrible on almost everything. So you'll basically just pick whatever one matches with your picture and then adjust its percentage so everything looks how you want it to. And for my image, I'm just going to stick with a black and white because that's all it is, and I don't need any type of shadowing or shading. And then when you're finished, just go down to the orange button at the bottom that says done. This will take you into the actual laser controls and power settings, which you're going to have to test on the materials you're using along with the patterns you're using to get the perfect engraving marks. For my particular setup, I'm using 100% laser and a 45 depth for cutting, along with having the fan on. Moving this little marker around will move your laser head so you can align your piece and make sure that everything is going to line up properly. You can also click this button here and it will start making a outer perimeter line around your piece and showing you where it's going to be cutting so you can align it that way and then push it again to stop it. And if you're doing all this and you find that your laser isn't moving, it's because you're not connected to it and you need to click the USB button at the top of the screen and everything should connect and everything will work from there. And this way you'll be able to start the print from your computer. So I know this video isn't going to be for everyone, and I know a lot of people don't even have an actual dedicated computer to use with one of these, but I did find a version of this that works through Bluetooth and with an iPhone or a Android phone. So you can use this even if you don't have a computer. So I'll make sure to leave links to them in the description below. And all the links are affiliate links, which means that if you buy anything from the links that I put up, I get a small commission off of them and you pay nothing extra. So it helps support the channel and you get cool items to use. So not only will I be making my own custom boxes with these, I will also be making custom jewelry, and I'll be making videos on how to do that in the future. So if you're interested in seeing that and want to be alerted when that actually comes out, subscribe to this channel. I try to put out new videos every week. If you found this video helpful, please leave a thumbs up, and if you have any questions or anything like that, leave a comment below and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.